Hello class, we're going to do another example of a proof. This is going to be involving angles and just going to go through it step by step so again we can see how you write proofs and the thought process that goes along with it. All right. So we have this statement here that line YZ is perpendicular to line XY. We also have that line VW is perpendicular to line UV. We want to prove that angle UVW is congruent to angle XYZ. So a couple things going on with this. What are we going to do? I would recommend that we start by drawing a picture so we can see what's going on. So let me get something I can draw lines with. These are going to be really bad, but that's okay. So I have line YZ, and this is going to be perpendicular to line XY. Okay, so it's going to go through point Y. Here there's Y, and we'll call this one X. And it tells us that these are perpendicular. Okay, so I've got perpendicular lines. Next, we have line VW. So put it over here. Why not? VW. And perpendicular to line UV. So it's going to intersect there. And this is U. And it tells us that this is perpendicular. And you can all laugh at my lovely artwork because it's awful. That's fine. So now let's think about this. What is it that we're trying to do? We're trying to prove that this angle is congruent to this angle. That's what we're trying to get to. We can look at this and say, sure, why not? It looks good. But no, we got to prove it step by step by step. So we kind of got to plan how we want to do this. Well, if I want to say that they're congruent, then I probably need to say that they have the same angle measure. So maybe if we can say something about the angle measures. Right? I'm going to kind of back up our thought process here. Well, hey, they're both perpendicular, so what is this angle measure? Well, it's 90 degrees, because that's what perpendicular means. So we can do that, and we can say something about how they have this, both are 90-degree angles, and so they're congruent. So that's what we want to do. That's kind of our plan here. But we have to put this all into our two-column proof. So statement one, how do we begin this? Well, we begin this with what we were given. So we're going to say that line YZ is perpendicular to line XY. And we have to say this because in a minute we're going to use that to say that they're 90-degree angles. And we can't use this being 90 and say that they're 90-degree angles if we haven't said that they're perpendicular. Right? We know this because that was given information. Right? And we also going to put the other one in there. Right? And the way a proof works, you can't use any information as fact unless you have said it somewhere already in the proof. Right? So we're saying this, and how do we know that? We know it's given to us. And so now that we have said that these are perpendicular, we can use that information. So we can say that the measure of angle UVW equals 90 degrees. And we can say that because we know that these are perpendicular lines. We've said that they're perpendicular lines, so we can use it. We also need to say that the measure of our other angle there, so angle XYZ equals 90 degrees. And again, because it is a perpendicular line. Right? So now that we have that those are 90 degrees, and since they're both 90 degrees, that means that the measures are the same, right? And so the measure of this one equals the measure of that one because they both equal 90 degrees. Now, we can't just say that. We have to have some reason that backs that up. So UVW equals the measure of, what was it, XYZ? XYZ. All right. How can we say that? How do you know this? What property or theorem or postulate describes that? Well, as we've seen before, we've seen lots of times, if you have two items that are equal to that third item, those first two things must equal each other. That is the transitive property of, let's see, congruence, transitive property of equality. We're not saying anything's congruent yet, so this is equality. I need another line. And if the angles have the same measure, then the angles are congruent. UW is congruent to angle XYZ. All right. And we know that because that is the definition of congruence. So there it is. We hit submit, and it tells us to keep it up, except that was the last one. We have mastered the skills. We're like, hey, we're awesome. And so, remember, you cannot use something unless you have stated it already. So you can't say you have 90-degree angles if you haven't said the angles are perpendicular, if you haven't said that they are right angles or something in there. All right? And that's the thing that causes people the most problems, is that they try to use a statement that they haven't made. All right? So remember that, and you got to take this step by step by step. All right? And hopefully that helps.